It's Morning Becomes Eclectic at 89.9 KCRW, and a set of music in our studios this morning. Our guests are the Arcade Fire, or Arcade Fire. You can say either, apparently. I just found out. Before we get into anything else, I remember a friend of mine who'd interviewed Cocteau Twins many, many years ago. And they would not talk to him because he started off the interview by saying, well, I've got the Cocteau Twins in the studios with me. And they were like, it's Cocteau Twins, But you guys don't mind either way. I don't usually get involved in band names, but this, you don't really care either way, right?
No, I mean, I guess it sounds more like a historical event when you plop a the in the beginning, but I don't think it's the end of the world either way.
I would have minded if you'd called us the Cocteau Twins.
Let's start off by talking a little bit about the town that you call home right now. One of the things I didn't realize until we met a little earlier on this morning is that although you're from Montreal at this point, you guys come from all over the place. Maybe you could give us a little bit of history, and maybe when you can start off by this, telling us how the band came together and how you all sort of ended up in Montreal and put this group together.
Well, about 4 years ago, I moved up to Montreal, kind of fleeing school in New York and in Boston, and I met Regine pretty early, who's from Montreal. She's the only one of us who actually grew up there and was raised there.
And you're from Texas originally?
I'm from Texas, right. Yeah. I grew up in Texas. And everyone else lived in Montreal. Jeremy was living in Ottawa at the time, but everyone else is from various places in Canada. We all met in Montreal.
Now, the creative spark, I guess, was you and Regine. Tell us a little bit about how you guys connected, because you're also a couple as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking for a drummer at the time, and I just kind of started talking to Regine, and the way the type of music she was into, and the way she described what she wanted to do was just instantly really appealing, and we started playing music and dating and everything pretty early on.
What kind of music were you playing, Regine, at that time? And what type of music were you playing when? Were you just sort of songwriting? I mean, what were you guys doing separately?
I mean, I've been writing songs forever. I had a band, like some form of a lineup together. Just like rock music. Like now, it sounds a little bit different now.
So what was it about the music that Regine was playing that you wanted to connect with and wanted to try and create something new?
I first started singing jazz, and I mean, I think jazz is an even worse place in rock and roll, if that's possible, right now. And just to hear someone like singing jazz standards and actually bringing something to the table and like interpreting the songs in like a meaningful way, I hadn't heard in, forever. And it was really refreshing. It was like, wow, a real singer. Because, I don't know, I guess everyone's just kind of learning how to copy other singers at this point.
Take us through the steps then from you guys deciding to collaborate together to then putting this group together.
Well, Richard and Tim played in a band together, and actually Richard and Sarah played in a different band together. And
And Jeremy.
Yeah, and Jeremy played in the band with these two guys, and I was a fan of their band, and they were a fan of my band, and when both of our bands went to hell, then we kind of combined one super band.
Necessity being the mother of invention.
We're kind of like Crosby, Stills, and Nash of Montreal. Except suckier.
What did you set out to do though? Once you guys all got together, was there a manifesto? Was there something you knew you wanted to do when you all got together, musically?
Well, right around the time we all started, I mean, we would like play around and we always liked each other's music, but around the time we started playing together in Arcade Fire, it was like kind of a dark time for the band, and so I think we were just kind of like had our head to the ground and we're just trying to persevere and write songs and just kind of like one step at a time at that point.
And play, like there had been a bunch of, like the last versions of the old Arcade Fire, like the last couple of shows were like very, very dismal.
Yeah, we didn't really play. Together. We didn't enjoy playing together that much. Like I didn't really want to rehearse ever, even though it's the only thing I really want to do. Like I never wanted to play, and so we would always just kind of play for fun, and that was really the spark that made me realize that we could play together, because like we were actually wanted to play together, which is kind of an important component in a band.
It's a good thing for a band, yeah.
Or share each other's company, or whatever.
I saw the show last night, and one of the things that we can't hear on radio, of course, some people can see you because they're looking online, but one of the things we can't hear on the radio or see online with today's performance is the theatricality that you bring to your performance on stage. Tell us a little bit about that. Was it always going to be a part of the Arcade Fire?
Well, I mean, it's important to like know you're playing for people. I've been to too many shows where it's like, what am I doing here? Like, I think I'll go home. Like, I don't think that there's necessarily a reason to go see a rock show, and so I think all of us want to do something that, I mean, not like we're putting on a play or something like that, but try and be intuitive as possible when we're playing, and try and actually like connect with people, not in like a superficial way, but like just be present, recognize like the situation that we're on a stage and there's people there, and you know, we're not in our basement like, you know, playing into a 4-track.
I feel like there's this underlying like dream also that we're putting on a musical one day, but like we're not anywhere near that point. But that's kind of like that's in the back of my mind all the time. Anyway, it's like, oh, maybe me and Will can beat each other up in the musical or something. I don't know.
Like the Who's Tommy. Only not about pinball machines.
It's been done, as you obviously know. When we sort of think about talking to musicians, when I think about talking to musicians and interviewing them, it's always intriguing for me to sort of try and get some musical background on people, and it sort of informs, I guess, the music in certain cases. And you've got your own intriguing history with family in music. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, actually, my great aunt Marilyn was at the show, who sang in a group called the King Sisters with my grandmother, who in the 30s and 40s were like a kind of like pre-Andrew sisters. And my grandpa was a pedal steel guitar player who led the band. And I mean, I remember my grandma telling me about going on tour, and she was 16, pretty much her whole life, never being home. So it's kind of, you know, seems kind of normal what we're doing now to me.
But didn't your grandfather invent something that was?
Yeah, I mean, he was a big electronics guy. He was friends with Leo Fender and Gibson, and he built one of the, like, I think it's the first prototype of an electric guitar. It's like a lap steel, and he sold it to that big museum in Seattle that's run by the Microsoft guru guy.
Right, the Experience.
And that's kind of what he
Museum.
lived off of the last like maybe 5 or 7 years or whatever.
Good for him.
Yeah.
But obviously music always around. It was never in doubt that this was something that you'd be doing.
Well, I mean, I didn't know that I'd be doing it until it was like, I just have been doing it, and I can't see myself stopping. It was never like what would be a really good career move is for me to start a rock band, you know?
We all know plenty of people who it has not been a good career move for. There's a lot of starving musicians out there, but you guys are doing pretty well right now. There's been a lot of attention on this record, obviously, and I don't want to get into the whole thing about you know, all the magazine articles and everything. But you're in a position now where you're actually being able to tour. The record's out on a small label, Merge Records, which I'm imagining gives you a lot of freedom to do what you need to do.
For sure. I mean, we're extremely lucky. I don't know that any of us could have like dreamed a best case scenario in which we'd be able to do what we're doing now and get to do it and like potentially not have to work at a bakery or whatever. It's nice.
We sure couldn't have planned it. It's like pretty lucky.
Well, I'm going to throw it back to you guys. We've got another set of music. I think we'll squeeze these last 3 songs on, and I'll keep an eye on the time.
Okay.
We're going to come back and give away some signed copies of the album, but right now, live in studio on Morning Becomes Eclectic, it's Arcade Fire.